everyone. I am Lauren with MtMv Voices. I am excited to be here today with Giselle and Kat from Time of Butterflies Corporation, and I will let them introduce themselves and a little bit about their organization. But I am excited to hear from them about how trauma affects the body and how we can regulate ourselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Bonilla. Most people know me as Kat. I'm one of the founders with my sister Giselle Bonilla, who's on our chat today. I'm the creative director of TOB, Time of Butterflies, but also, like I said, I founded this with my sister. I initially started Time of Butterflies about 2 years ago when I moved to the DMV area. And I had this idea of like having a nonprofit, and it came from like my own challenges as I continued to work on like myself. And then I realized that my sister had very similar things she was working on, some similar goals she was working on. So I just kind of took the risk and just like went and did it. And here we are. But what I find very special about our organization is the name. When we were thinking about what to name it, the name comes from a book called In the Times of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this novel, but in this book, she writes about the Mirabal sisters in the Dominican Republic, who fought for their life during against Trujillo's dictatorship during that time. And so for me, I think the story represents the power of womanhood, and how strong we can be when we get together. For me, initially, my idea to bring women together has expanded into so much more at this point, right? TOB now provides workshops, informative events, and networking spaces for women. Particularly, we focus a lot on women of color, just, that's just where our target is, but like women in general. So we invite all women, and it's just kind of like exciting to have this journey and like write this to the next, wherever it takes us, right? And being able to do this with my sister. So I'm very happy to be here and for this opportunity. Thank you, Lauren. And I hope that, I get to meet all of you guys in person one day, hopefully, somehow. So thank you.
Hey, everyone. My name is Giselle Bonilla. I'm also one of the founders of Time of Butterflies. So Catherine touched upon a lot of reasons as to why we started the Time of Butterflies. But before we even worked towards making it Time of Butterflies, we were having a conversation one day in the car about our trauma and what we experienced, the abuse we experienced, and how like growing up, we didn't really have the support that we needed. We didn't have the resources available to us that we needed. And we just started talking more about it, and we're like, wow, like this is crazy. Like we want to be able to create something that we can help others who are probably has experienced the same thing we did during the time that we experienced our abuse. And with me in particular, I really felt alone. I will get triggered and I didn't really know how to like self-regulate or how to cope with it because I didn't really have the resources available for me to do so. So that was one of the many reasons why I wanted to do this for other women, other survivors who have experienced it, because we are able to help them, guide them in ways that they can heal, provide workshops, resources, also support. I feel like support is like so important. And that's something that was lacking during my healing journey. And I just want to be able to support other women just in general. Just let them know, like, I'm here for you. We may experience similar trauma, but we deal with it differently, but I'm here to support you through your healing like journey. So that's like the main reason for Time of Butterflies. The name, Catherine touched upon it. Also, the other way I think about the name is as in like, we are, maybe a caterpillar or in a cocoon, or maybe we're almost close to becoming a butterfly. Like everybody's in a different point in their healing journey. So when I think about time of butterflies, like with time, you'll get there, you'll go through the process. And, something to think about, like healing, is not linear. Like it's up and down your healing journey. But yeah, that's mainly it for time of butterflies. But yeah, and also Lauren, thank you so much for creating this space. Like this is amazing during these times. I hope everybody's taking care of themselves during these times as well.
Most definitely. And thank you again for being here and sharing your insight and your resources with us. We're all very grateful. Would you like me to pull up the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we can begin.
All right. Bear with me, everybody.
So I guess, okay. I want to begin with a quote from a book called Focusing by Eugene Gendlin. And the quote goes, "Our brains and bodies know far more than is normally available to us. We are conscious of only a fragment of what we deeply know." So the way I wanted to share this quote in particular because, it makes a great point. Our brains and bodies know far more than is normally available to us. Like there's a lot that goes on within us that we're not really aware of. We're just conscious of like whatever our minds allow us to be conscious of. So there's like so much behind the subconscious. And who's in charge of that, I feel like most of the time, is our brains and bodies. But I just want to share this quote just to get people thinking and, reflecting on it. So I wanted to start off with a little meditation called Breathe with Your Body. And I just want to begin to bring in your attention into your body. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable to you. If it's not, then it's totally okay. You can just gaze down or focus on one thing in the area that you're in right now. But I'll begin once everybody feels like they're ready to. So just okay. You can notice your body seated wherever you're seated, feeling the weight of your body on the chair, on the floor. Take a few deep breaths. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, enlivening the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. You can notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor. The weight and pressure, vibration, heat. You can notice your legs against the chair. Pressure, pulsing, heaviness, lightness. Notice your back against the chair. Bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensations in your arms? Let your shoulders be soft. Notice your neck and throat. Let them be soft. Relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Take a breath. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So there's another quote that I want to share with everyone before we actually get started. And it goes, "The body is a metaphor of a blueprint hologram of our history." And I feel like this quote is really powerful overall because our story and our history are held in our bodies, and we can tell our stories through our bodies. Like body language is really powerful. Um, and overall, we grow in a reflection of our emotional climate and experiences of our childhood and beyond our childhood. So just thinking of your body as a walking story or a hologram overall of your history is powerful. So I want to touch upon trauma and how it's in the body, mind, and brain. So trauma affects the entire human organism, body, mind, and brain. In PTSD, the body continues to defend against a threat that belongs to the past. Healing from PTSD means being able to terminate this continuous stress, mobilization, and restore the entire organism to safety. So I actually got this quote from, I actually have the book next to me, which is an amazing book. I will recommend. The Body Keeps the Score. It's by Vander Kolk, Basil Vander Kolk. But it's an amazing book. I will recommend it. He touches upon trauma in the body and a whole bunch of other stuff that will be really helpful during like anybody's healing process or just want to learn more about it. But as a survivors or survivors in general, we do experience a lot of symptoms of PTSD. And it's in most of the time we don't qualify as having PTSD, which I think it's BS overall because we do have symptoms of PTSD. But it just shows how, you know, trauma causes that in the body's PTSD, and it's something that we need to heal from. And it's just by knowing your body, your mind, and brain, how they're connected and how they work together. So now we're gonna get a little bit into like the biology of things, your autonomic nervous system. And, you know, what do you know about your autonomic nervous system? So it scans for cues of safety, scans for cues of danger, scans for cues of life threats without involving the thinking parts of the brain. And it's divided into two parts, the parasympathetic branch and the sympathetic branch. The vagus nerve. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this nerve, but basically this nerve is the way that your brain communicates to your body. This nerve goes throughout your body, through your organs, and it's located behind your neck. And I will ask everybody to just try to locate your vagus nerve behind your neck. And you can see the picture, that can probably be helpful. But if you massage that nerve, it can relax you. It can really help to just like be more present and relax, especially if you're feeling anxious in any way. But we'll get more into the nerve throughout the next few slides. So the vagus nerve has three branches, which is the ventral vagal, which affects body function above the diaphragm, sympathetic, which you might be familiar with, which is where your body, you know, responds to danger through fight, flight, or freeze. And then dorsal vagal, that has a role in controlling our lungs, hearts, and stomach. So where digestion occurs. So ventral vagal, when you find yourself in your body in ventral vagal, you feel socially engaged, you're feeling safe, socially connected as well. Sympathetic is fight, flight, or freeze. And then vagal is when your body just shuts down. And I will talk a little bit more about it in the next few slides. And if you have any questions, just feel free to type it in the Zoom group chat at any time. So moving up and down the ladder. Ventral will be at the top of the ladder, sympathetic the middle, and then dorsal at the bottom. It's just like a visual representation of how this might look like. where you might find yourself. But dorsal is a state which it's a normal state to be in. That's where digestion happens. That's where you get rest. But sometimes people who have depression might often find themselves in dorsal. People who have anxiety might often find themselves in sympathetic, fight or flight. And then ventral state is just like when you're feeling your best overall. And how does this affect our bodies? So these are some ways it affects our bodies. Ventral, you have a healthy heart, regulated blood pressure, healthy immune system, good digestion, quality sleep, and overall sense of well-being. Sympathetic, heart rate speeds up, shortness of breath. We're constantly scanning our environment, looking for danger. And dorsal, shut down, chronic fatigue, muscle pain and tenderness, low blood pressure, weight gain, and more. So awareness helps with self-regulation. So we're gonna move on to, just us getting more aware of where we find ourselves in our bodies when we're in like these different states. And just reflecting on that, I will welcome you to take out your paper and your pen. You don't have to share this with us. This is more for you, so you can get to know your body a bit more, and I guess the biology part of it and how it may affect you through the trauma that you like experience. But I'll pass it on to Kat. She's gonna lead you through these activities.
So if you take a few moments as you gather a piece of paper, journal, and a writing utensil, and I'm just going to read them and give you some time after I read each one to kind of jot down just very brief bullet points answering this question. It's just for yourself. Again, like Giselle said, this is just your own reflection on these questions. The first one says, what are your thoughts, body sensations, emotions, and behaviors when you are in dorsal vagal? So how are you feeling? What are your thoughts? What some emotions or ways you're behaving when you're in that particular place in the ladder?
Do you mind reminding us all which is the dorsal vagal?
Yeah, so dorsal vagal, it responds to cues of extreme danger. So this is like, it takes us out of connectedness with others, out of awareness, and into a protective state of collapse. So this is when we feel frozen, numb, or not here. So dissociation often happens when you're in dorsal vagal. I'll go over all of them because I know like it was a lot of information. So ventral is when you're feeling safe, engaged, and socially connected. So this is when you feel like the best, you're like your best self. You're really active, you're completing a lot of tasks. And then sympathetic, it responds to fight, flight, or freeze. And during this time, you have daily living problems, anxiety, panic attacks. You may experience anger, inability to focus or follow through, and a lot of distress in relationships. So this is where often survivors do find themselves, sympathetic, as well as dorsal. And this is where also mental health disorders connect themselves to as well. So sympathetic, anxiety is the main thing that you experience while in sympathetic.
And the other one, it's basically thinking of the same, thoughts, body sensations, emotions, and behaviors when you are in the sympathetic mode. So when you're there, how's your body feeling, your thoughts, and etc. So then you get a few moments to answer that one. Okay, and then the last one, what are your thoughts, again, body sensations, emotions, and behaviors when you are in the ventral vagal mode? How are you feeling? What are some things you're thinking or some things you're doing? And again, if you want to share, you can always write your thoughts on each or one or two of these on the chat so we can read them, and that way we can see your answer. But again, this is journaling time, so you don't have to share, but if you would like to, we have that space on that chat for you to share. And then whenever you're ready, we can go to the next. everyone feels comfortable, we can go to the next. So now we're going to talk about what are some coping skills that has been helpful for you when you have, either trying to self-regulate or because you've been triggered. So just thinking about reflecting on like coping skills that you have already been using to self-regulate when you are triggered. What are your to go to? So what are some of those, like, this is what I do right away, like the first things you go to in order to like self-regulate, coping skills that help you move up the ANS ladder. So what helps you to move up the ladder? So just kind of, if you want to share out again on the chat, what are some of those coping skills? Because I mean, it's helpful to share them just because not everyone does the same things. I guess I'll share for me. I do a lot of meditation and reading and cooking. So for me, those are three things, major things that my to go to, right? Those are my to go tos when I'm feeling triggered or stressed and I'm coming down on the ladder to bring me back up. So those are my ways to kind of cope when I'm in that, need self-regulation mode. So feel free to share. I don't know if Giselle, you want to share what you do since
Yeah, I can definitely share. So I do a lot of reading. That's one thing. Just, different books that can help, that can I can gain knowledge from, that can help during my healing process. So I actually did bring, I have a few books that I want to share with you all that has been helpful for me. Something I did not mention earlier is that I am currently, I graduate next month, but I'm currently in school to become a clinical mental health counselor and specialize in expressive arts therapy. So I've been learning a lot about trauma in the body, and just how to help my future clients, how to process and just heal from what they've experienced overall. But I recently took a class on body-oriented psychotherapy. And since we're talking about the body, we hold a lot in the body. There's some great exercises, body-oriented exercises in this book called The Way to Vibrant Health. I will definitely recommend this book. The cover picture is not my favorite, but it's a great book. As I mentioned before, The Body Keeps the Score is a great book as well. Also, this one called Assessing the Healing Power of the Vagus Nerve. So this is self-help exercises for anxiety, depression, trauma, and autism. It's really good. And I recently wrote my thesis paper on the polyvagal theory in therapy with women who've been abused, because I felt like the approach in therapy with women who've been abused wasn't really helpful or really effective, I feel like, overall. So I wrote my thesis paper on that, and also focus on intersectionality, because there's also other trauma besides our abuse that we do hold in the body. But this is a great book as well, even if you're not a therapist. It has a lot of worksheets that you can do that can help with your healing process. And I brought along a poetry book, actually, that is one of my favorites. It's called I Love My Love by Raina Biddy. And she is a poet. She writes about a whole bunch of poems in regard to abuse that she's witnessed in her household growing up, and how it has affected her and her self-image and how she views herself and how she copes with it. And she also touches upon the abuse that she had experienced in relationships. But I do a lot of reading overall. I do art. I recently actually got into music. I purchased a drum that's really therapeutic. Overall, it calms me down. It's called a tongue drum. I don't know if anybody has heard about that drum, but yeah. And I do yoga and some stuff that Catherine mentioned as well. I do a lot of journaling, but those are some of my coping skills. But yeah, feel free to share your coping skills in the chat. And maybe other people might be able to use those coping skills as well, and it could be helpful for them.
looking for always for new coping skills. So please share. Oh, I love it. People are like writing. Christopher saying, listen to lo-fi music videos on YouTube, jazz, R&B. That's awesome. Arnelli, journaling, listening to music, online time. Awesome. This is so cool. Okay. Music definitely is very therapeutic. Like I love listening to music. There's always a song for like how you're feeling, right? So it's like pretty dope. I do watercolor and painting. That's awesome. Just so you got yourself an artist in here.
Yeah. And I also write poetry myself. Like that's been really helpful for me too. Like just poetry. And I've kept my poetry to myself until my birthday of last year. That's when I felt comfortable enough to share them with my friends and family so they can see things that I've dealt with and like I've healed from, or like experiences that I've put into like poetry. And I guess that was part of my healing journey, but poetry is definitely my go-to.
Whenever everyone feels comfortable, we can, I guess, move to the next. Oh.
We can move on to questions. If anyone has any questions.
And thank you all for taking the time to log in and like,
yeah,
take care of yourself. This is another way to take care of yourself, right? So thank you so much for doing that and participating. So.
Absolutely. Out of everything you could be doing right now, it shows a lot that you're taking the steps and the interest in wanting to learn more about this and engaging with us and others. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Lauren, are you having another similar Zoom workshop?
Yes. I'm doing Zoom workshops. This is part of the Me Too Many Voices and Friends series for the community by the community. It's always best to engage with the community and know that you're not alone, especially right now when most of us are quarantining or, staying home. Check out my Instagram page and my website for more events. I have some events on Instagram Live and some on Zoom, and I'm working on getting them up online. So in case you do miss a workshop, you can still enjoy it at your own time. And also, again, this is Time of Butterflies. I'll write down their Instagram as well, but they are another great resource. Did anybody have any questions for apparently I really cannot do more than one thing at a time. If anybody has any questions for Giselle or Kat, please feel free to chime in.
Yeah. It could be related to what we just said, or if you have any questions in regards to what we do, more of like the things that we're doing or what Lauren's doing, anything, just ask away.
My new ladies, what is your, I know you have a website. What's your website?
Yeah, so it's timesofbutterfly.com. So it'll take you right there to our website if you type in, timesofbutterfly.com.
Say that, like, just learn about the autonomic nervous system. It's a lot of information. So I try my best to explain it the best way that I can in like a short, in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But it's like way more to it because it's just like it's the biology part of your body, but it's like really interesting to learn about it overall because we don't really realize how connected our minds and bodies are. And even like when we're feeling sick, like the mind can help in speaking to your body, communicating with your body in ways that you can help your body get better. It's amazing how the mind and body and the brain works all together, and the role your nervous system plays in your body.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Well, Thank you very much again for joining us. And Kat and Giselle, thank you so much for leading this workshop. I really enjoyed it and am walking away with some more information, which I always love.